Bueno, empiezo contigo entonces.
Dale, pues, sí.
A ver aquí.
All right, Joel, so it's about to start. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell a little bit about what you do, how long you've been doing it.
All right, my name's Joel Pardilla from Miami. My journey pretty much started out in real estate. Built up a wholesaling company, did that for about a year and a half. Scaled it all the way up to about 13 employees. Then got presented with an opportunity, which was the employee retention credit. It was just too good to pass. I did that for about a year, scaled it up to 25 employees with that company. But the IRS cut it off this year, January 31st, 2024. So now I'm transitioning back to wholesaling, just scaling that back up.
I know that you visited a couple of times, but like, why are you living here?
So that's a good question. What brings me out to Colombia is the environment and the ambiance. When I've got here, I've noticed that everyone was just easier going, much nicer people. And the best part about it is being an entrepreneur. This is a digital nomad hotspot. So there's a lot of other entrepreneurs I'm able to connect with and just network and, build relationships. And
That's tough. That's a tough guy right there, not even a flinch. Yeah, man. So for me, I think that like the crazy thing about Medellin is it's like, in my opinion, it's like the Dubai of the West. It's like the place where everybody's at. Like everybody's gone here. Everybody visits here. Any entrepreneur, any influencer, like they've all taken a trip out to Medellin. So for all of you guys that don't know, me and Joel actually live together now. But what do you think are kind of like the upsides and then the downsides to having roommates? Because, a lot of people, they might look at you and see how much money you've been made and can make, and you could easily afford an apartment by yourself out here in Medellin, a nice one at that. What makes you want to have roommates?
so I say for me, the reason why I love and enjoy having roommates like David and Louis is because we're all on the same journey and we all have a common mission and goal that we're looking to accomplish, right? So whenever there's days that I don't feel like doing something, well, guess what? I have two other beast entrepreneurs that I live with that, pretty much tell me, stop slacking, get it together. So they have strength in areas that you have a weakness in. So for example, one thing that I wasn't too good with was speaking in front of people and actually just sparking conversation with strangers. Well, luckily David here, he pretty much gave us a challenge where we were able to just go out and have random conversations, speak with people. And this ultimately helped me become better when it came to presenting and being able to communicate more effectively. And ultimately I think that for me really had a positive impact.
So there's this awesome course that I took. It's called Charisma on Command, and in that course they explain how the best way to get used to talking to people is talking to people. So basically the way that it worked is you go out with 3 people, and what you do is you just point at a random person and then they have to go talk to that person no matter what.
Random girls.
Girls is definitely always going to be the toughest one, just because if you can do girls, and especially like more attractive girls, it's always going to be a lot harder than just talking to a random person. Now, if you're just somebody that sucks at just talking and sparking conversation completely, then yeah, you're going to want to go for just starting off with guys. But like if you want to push the limit on like that uncomfortability factor, is always going to be talking to the opposite sex, and especially one that is attractive. there's this funny saying where it's just like, if I didn't get nervous when I first met you, it's because you're ugly. So we started doing that, and then that's actually how Joel got to what he's talking about right now. Having other guys, like I think the key is really that. You just have to have people that challenge you in one way or another.
A little of friendly competition, to be honest. There's no such thing as advancement, as you growing as a person, if you're not competing, honestly. So when it comes to everything and anything that we do, we're always competing because we're always pushing to make each other better, and we're always pushing to make ourselves better internally. So I think that's overall the main benefit to all of us living together in a beautiful penthouse in Medellin. So.
Online businesses and stuff like that, bro. Like, what made you go the online route, and how has it been treating you? Like, what do you think about that world?
One of the key non-negotiable factors I always wanted was the freedom. Me being able to have a business that's online, meaning I'm able to work out of any place as long as I have Wi-Fi and I have a laptop, is by far the best thing for me, because I'm still able to generate income back in the States with the lifestyle that Colombia has to offer. And for me, that is the best thing that the online business space has to offer.
I want to take a little bit of time just to explore more into your past, right? So you told me that you grew up in DR for a large part of your life, Dominican Republic.
Yeah, so I mean, growing up in DR definitely made me have to grow up much quicker than the average person. I say growing up in DR, I just want you to picture let's say a 600 square foot efficiency. I lived with my 2 sisters, my brother, and my mom. My dad had recently just flown to Guatemala to cross the border so he can, get us some papers. But growing up in DR, I didn't necessarily have everything, right? So I would always have to wait for my mom 6, 7 p.m. to come back home to make us a warm plate. I would always have to spend time with my grandmother. She was raising me while my mom worked at a factory, literally from like 6 a.m. to like 5 p.m. in the afternoon. And just seeing that perspective really just, sparked something within me to want to, change that forever. Never did I see my mother make an excuse. She worked in a factory 12 hours until she was literally due for pregnancy, up until she was like almost 9 months. She never made an excuse. Got her PhD. So I knew that going into the United States, it was dependent on me to like change it around for my family, right? Because even when I moved to the US, I went 4.5 years without seeing my mother that very first time I moved to the US. So it was such a big sacrifice for a mother to let their kids go to a whole different country just so they can have a better life. And I'm forever grateful for that. And that's why I always go hard every single day to make sure I'm able to change the trajectory of my family.
Yeah, so one of the big things that I always say is like the best advantage or the best privilege that you can have is coming from a certain level of difficulty, because it gives you perspective. What they say is that, happiness, it comes from progress. It comes from being in a better spot today than you were yesterday and consistently having the ability to do that. And it's really hard to do that if you grow up with everything, right? If you have everything, how can you build, or how much harder is it to build something from, I don't know, 1 million to 2 or 10 million versus from 0 to
from the mud,
even 1,000.
Exactly.
It's a lot easier, and that progress does bring a lot of happiness behind it. And then it also gives you perspective. So you grew up in Florida. I grew up in Florida. I feel like Florida has something funny in the water. I wouldn't say that it's like it breeds people to be more successful, not even in the slightest, but there is a certain advantage of just being surrounded by so many cultures, right? So like most people that grew up in Florida, I grew up around Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, other Colombians, Venezuelans, Haitians, Jamaicans, Virgin Islands people, and all of them were like close friends. So that allowed me to, just be a little bit more cultured and a lot easier to get along with most people, because you can have that conversation. Like, oh, I know what mango is, or I know what mofongo is, or I know what this is, or a beef patty, or whatever it is. How do you think growing up in Florida molded you to the guy that you are today, other than the fact that he's able to sleep through the hottest of days and the hottest of weathers in a way that I don't even understand personally? But other than you just being not human, how else has growing up in Florida had an effect on, you as a person and all that?
I think it just goes back to like, what you said, having the different cultures around. And one thing about Florida is that in certain parts of Florida, they're hustlers. I mean, they got that hustle mentality. So it's only a matter of time before that, that mentality just kind of rubs off on you. And growing up in Florida, I was very close to Miami. So just being in an area where there's a lot of wealth, there's a lot of money, and you see how people are living, that truly just inspired me. And it really just opened up my eyes, and it let me know, like, it's possible. That world really exists out there. Like, it's possible. Like, all you have to do is just go after it, and it's yours. I mean, you live in one of the best countries when it comes to opportunities and capitalism. Now it's really on you. The ball's in your court to make the best out of it. So I think growing up in Florida really just, gave me a different perspective of the money that there is to be made out there, and then the lifestyle I can have for myself.
I think that especially Miami, is one of those places where you just see so many Rolls, so many Lambos.
I like to say the Huracans are like the yellow cabs of Miami, and now it's becoming Bugattis, because you just see 4 to 5 Bugattis in Miami, like on the regular. Like it's normal now. So like, being in an environment where they expect that, or it's something that's normalized, gets you thinking like, okay, why not me? Like, I need to have my Bugatti. It ultimately just pushes you in the right direction to continue growing and, becoming a better entrepreneur.
I love going to Miami for that same exact reason. I hate it sometimes just because I feel like a lot of the things are so inflated, but there is sort of like that. There's no reason why I should be looking twice at the bill. right? Like, there's no reason why I should be at any moment in time. And if that's the case, then maybe there's something that I should do to change that situation. So talk to me about, you know, the following 5 years. Like, what are some of the plans that you have for the next 5 years, as far as just you and your life, your brand?
Tough question. For the next 5 years, I just see myself, for one, ultimately, definitely retiring my family, for sure. I think that's a goal that I'm looking to do within the next 12 months. For the next 5 years, you know, officially moving my mother and my sisters, nieces and nephews all to the U.S., giving them a house. I also want to start working on building incubators. You know, we've been talking about.
Really want to do that. Stay tuned for that. It's coming.
We've been talking about that. But that's ultimately my goal.
So there's this guy, right? And he sees this kid, and he's just going down the beach, and for miles and miles, there's just a bunch of starfish just on the sand. The kid's just grabbing one by one and throwing it back into the water. Grabbing one by one and throwing it back to the water. And so the guy comes and he's like, "What are you doing, kid?" He's like, I'm saving the starfish. And he's like, you understand you're not going to be able to get all of them. I know. And he's just like, how could you be okay with that? Like, you know, like, you're wasting your time. Like, there's not going to be enough time in the day for you to actually be able to grab all of these starfish. He's like, I know. And he says, what you're doing doesn't matter. And he grabs one of the fish, and he holds it in his hand, and he throws it into the water, and he says, it matters to that one. And it matters to that one, and it matters to that one. You know, and it's like, yeah, no, it's great. It's a great story. It always, every time I say it, even when I hear it, whatever, it's just like, ooh, right? Because a lot of times, you know, people see, but the world's so fucked up, or, you know, this area is so fucked up, or this school system is so fucked up, and it's like, if you can make one scholarship, you're changing the world for one person. Exactly. And that's really what we want to do with these incubators. So if you guys stay tuned, you know, keep us accountable when it comes to that. We're also going to be looking for donations for people that want to be a part of it as well. So definitely stay tuned for that.
I want to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
All right. So my question to you is, currently in the consulting space, you're helping veterans, you know, be financial literate when it comes to investing in stocks and things of that nature. At what point in your life did you think, this is the avenue I want to take, and these are the people I want to help?
It was around probably 2021, right? So 2020 was when I started consulting, and I started doing that, and I was really a generalist, right? So I help everybody with everything, because I had read a lot of books. I had started learning about meditation, about money, about marketing, about sales. And so I understood that I could help just about anybody with just about anything, but just not very well. And I read a book that explained the importance of focus. I actually got it tattooed right there, the one right here. Yep. Then I read another one that's called Outliers, and it talks about how it takes about 10,000 hours of doing just one thing and working on one thing to find true success in it, like to truly be in the tippity top of it. And your ability to be successful isn't so much how many things you attack as much as how many other things you avoid, so that you can stay focused in on one thing. You know, I just listen to the market. You know, I've always tried to eliminate my ego from business decisions. And so, like, more than what I thought I was good at, or more than what I thought was my strong point, I just listened to what people would say on the calls, right? So the majority of the people that wanted to sign up for my program were military members. And I had taught military members during 4 years of my career. I just listened to how most of them wanted to learn about stocks. Like, I would be like, yo, like, I can help you with a business, and nah. I can help you with, you know, your mindset, nah. And so as I heard that over and over again, I was like, all right, it's stocks. Like, people want to learn about stocks. I understand stocks. Let me just focus in on becoming the best stock educator, the best stock consultant, and the most proficient in stock investing as I can possibly be. And if I just do that for 10 years, no matter what, I know for a fact I'll be successful, and I'll actually be doing something that's worth doing. And so that's it, man. Like, it was really just a matter of just like listening to the market, and then picking, and then just saying, I don't care. Like, whether something cooler comes around, something that makes more money, something that could get me there faster, like, I don't care. I'm gonna just do this and stick to this until the day I die.
Just be laser focused.
And just be laser focused.
All right, last question. What is one tip that you can give to the young up-and-coming entrepreneurs?
I think that the biggest tip that I could give to any young entrepreneur is just focus on doing less. You know, master sales, master marketing, and then sell or market one thing, and that's it. But like, truly master it. And this isn't something like reading one book or watching a couple YouTube videos. It's like, truly take the time to start educating yourself on what are the nuances and the skill sets, and you know, the tools that you need under your belt and in your mind to truly know how to market something, to truly know how to sell something. Once you get those two things down, like there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to make multiple six figures, like comfortably.
Imperfect action is always better than perfect inaction. For me, for any young entrepreneurs coming up, like you're starting in your journey, don't be scared to make mistakes, right? Ultimately, what you're going to get from mistakes is valuable lessons learned, and it could be the thing that propels you to the next level, right? I read in a book, after you experience the biggest, adversity in your life, right after, you probably have the biggest breakthrough in your career. And that's where most people quit, right? So as long as you stick with the plan and you push through, you will see the light of the day on the other side of the tunnel. Just keep pushing.
All right, guys, this is Joel. If you want to follow him, I'm going to leave his Instagram info down in the bio. Also, you can get in contact with him through there. Bro, thank you for this call, and we'll be doing more videos soon.